Hi, Taylor. How are you today?
Hey, I'm doing all right. How are you?
I am doing great. The Pretty Reckless, you're playing Lollapalooza this year. The lineup just came out. And this festival, it's not really known for being predominantly rock. It's such a blend of different kind of alt-rock, EDM. Do you feel like you'd like to play a festival like that more or a rock festival?
I just like to play. I don't really care where. Honestly, I don't have it. I just like to play, so it really doesn't matter. If there's one person in the audience, I'm surprised and stoked.
Well, do you think like a festival like Lollapalooza helps, let's say, new fans discover your band? People who necessarily wouldn't be into rock music happen to be walking by and hear you and decide to listen. Do you think that's a good thing?
Absolutely. I think all the festivals do that. You're going to have people in the audience that might not necessarily know you, and, hopefully you can maybe win one or two of them over.
Talking about festivals, you've played Warped Tour, and this year's lineup was just released. What was it like for your band when you first went out on Warped Tour, and do you have any fond memories of it?
We had a really good time. It was really brutal. It was very hot. It was almost like a Warped Tour, at least for us, it was almost like a boot camp band. It really whips you into shape with how touring works and how exhausting it is. So I think that was a good first tour for us. It prepared us for the rest of it.
Was there any bands in particular that you think kind of helped you out or took you under their wing to kind of show you the ropes or show you how tour life works?
Not so much under anyone's wing. I think when we toured with Evanescence, we learned a lot. They have a very pro camp, and it's interesting opening for different people because everyone runs their crews and their organizations differently. So it's interesting to see how everyone does it and then see what works for you.
You've been in the entertainment business for a very long time, and it kind of would surprise people that you are still in your early 20s. Do you think this is beneficial that you've been so successful at such a young age, or do you find it more of a hindrance or harder for you in your career?
Well, I think with my previous jobs, my previous careers, I think that certainly was something to overcome when we started the band, because I think people didn't take it seriously, which why would you? I was 15 and I was on a television show. But that has, gone away. We've been a band for almost 10 years now and 3 records. And I think that, all my experiences have led to where I am now, and I'm in a really good place now. So no complaints.
Well, your band has come leaps and bounds. Last year, your band broke the rock chart record for having first 4 mainstream singles hit #1 on Billboard. And that's impressive on its own, but also you're a female-fronted rock group. Do you feel that you're sort of paving the way for future female rock musicians the same way that past female rockers did for you?
Honestly, I haven't thought of. I don't really think of it like that. I kind of just think that good music is good music. I don't really see gender like that. I think that hopefully it will inspire more kids in their bedrooms to pick up their guitars instead of Xboxes, But I don't care if they're a girl or a guy.
Do you think that's kind of a problem nowadays, especially with younger people? They are kind of more playing video games, and there's not really as much of an emphasis on actual, I guess you would say, musicians or playing of instruments. You see a lot of people doing the DJ thing and things like that. Do you think that's kind of pulling away from classic rock and classic music that we know at this time?
I think that I think all genres are scary. I mean, they've always existed, and there's always going to be trends and fads and things. But to me, rock and roll is you can play it with all you need is one string. You don't even need that. So I think that rock and roll can never die. It's such a form of freedom and connects with so many people on so many levels that there's no way that it will never exist.
You said before in interviews that when you started writing music, it wasn't a choice. It was more out of a desperation and a need to play. What were you desperate? Were you desperate to escape from something or to say something? What made this need so intense for you?
That's a good question. I honestly don't know the correct answer to that. It's kind of a combination of everything. It was, writing for me, it was an escape, it was a therapy, it was just something I did. And if I didn't do it, I didn't feel normal. And it was the same with playing music and writing songs. It was a part of my identity, and I didn't feel like myself if I wasn't doing it. So that's why I say it wasn't really a choice. It was just it's like water to me. I need it. It's like air. I need it.
So it's safe to say if we see you on tour, you'll run to the bathroom real quick. If you have a thought or something, write it down, put it in your phone, something like that, at least to get it out there?
Absolutely. I'm constantly jotting stuff down.
No, I love it. That's how you need to be as a musician. Another thing I heard you say before is, I've never heard it said like this, is that the music industry is currently in the 50s, which I totally agree with. We've gone away from the albums. We've gone away from everyone listening from beginning to end, and everyone's listening to singles instead. Do you think that this is a detrimental thing to the music industry at this time, or a band at least too?
I don't think it's detrimental. I think it's just different. I mean, to me, I appreciate the album because as a writer and as an artist, one song doesn't capture everything. So it's hard. I get asked all the time, if you were going to only listen to one song from the Pretty Reckless, what song should it be? And it's like, well, I can't say there's no answer to that because it's all of them. It's the body of work and the collection of all the songs that make an artist. And I appreciate the album because I think that it captures, at least for me, it captures a moment in my life and in the band's life, and I think that that's interesting to hear. That's why the track listening to me is important, because if you actually take the time to listen to the record from front to back, it'll take you on a journey, on essentially my journey, hypothetically.
No, I love it. A lot of bands, when you see a band live, they like them to sound just like the album. Now, your band doesn't use any backtracks. There's no sound effects. It's just a raw rock and roll performance. Do you think that live performances that have small imperfections like that, necessarily not a backtrack or something like that, and differ from the album, do you think they're better or the same, or what is your thoughts on that?
I think it just has to be good. That's what I think. I don't think it has to be the same. I love hearing different versions of band songs and stuff. And I mean, especially for our band, we have to essentially rewrite the songs for live because in the studio, especially on this record, we brought in outside musicians. So we had, a keyboard player and 3 background singers and Warren Haynes, and so to strip that down to a 4-piece band takes some work. But I think that it's entertaining for the fans. You get to see another side of things. And honestly, when you take it all away, you just have a really loud, ruckus rock and roll band. I mean, what's not fun about that?
Well, we know that you found your true calling in life and your voice through rock music, and we're not complaining about that. But do you think there would ever be some sort of acting role that you would want to go back for instance, if they told you, hey, would you be interested in being Joni Mitchell in a biopic or something like that? Is there something that you couldn't say no to?
I don't think so. No. Acting is so a part of my past at this point. It legitimately was my childhood.
Yeah.
So, no.
You really didn't get a choice on it either. Like, you chose music. You didn't choose acting.
I was thrown into it. I mean, when I got to an age that I realized I could make my own decisions, that's when I quit acting and fully committed to the band.
You spoke about your love of 90s grunge and specifically Soundgarden too being a main musical influence. When you were younger, did you ever think that you would be opening up for that band?
No, and I still don't believe it. I'm so excited. I can't, we've played with them once in Quebec City, which was amazing, but an actual tour is a dream come true.
If you could have given...
I just want to watch them every night.
I could just imagine you're just sitting on the stage in the corner just in awe every night. That would be at least me if that was me in that position.
Absolutely. I mean, they're so musically proficient. I don't even know how they do what they do. They're amazing.
I do love your career and everything that you've done, and you've been so successful at it. If there's any advice you could have given yourself as a child, as younger Taylor, or any kind of at least little food for thought for you growing up, what would it have been?
Realize the power I had earlier before I realize how powerful you can be, and learn that younger.
I love it. Well, thank you so much, Taylor. I really appreciate it. It's Taylor Momsen from the Pretty Reckless. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Have a great one.
You too, man. Bye.
Bye.